Okay. Ooh, that was loud. All by design. Happy New Year. Hello, everybody. No, those audio. I just didn't turn it on because I'm trying to get better about setting this all up. It is 10:25. I lost my over/under bet to Kate, our mod. I said it would take me 15 minutes to get set up. She was correct. Some people know me better than others. Anyway, good morning to you guys, or good afternoon, depending on where you guys are in the world. Is that too loud? Maybe turn it down a little bit. I had this gentleman behind me. That's a flat Ronnie, for those of you know. And while I was setting up, it fell down and this huge crash. So I had to get it set up. But anyway, I'm back. I miss you guys. It's been a while. I want to say it's almost been about 3 weeks. I'm going to start drawing and talking so that we don't lose any precious time here. And kind of walk you through what's been going on the past 2 or 3 weeks. And it's been a really good time for me. Obviously, I sound much healthier than I did when I previously streamed, and I think it was just I was pushing myself too hard. Hold on one second. I gotta turn this screen. Hopefully, I don't have everything fall apart on me here when I do this. Move things around here. All right. I'm just gonna do a warm up sketch while I'm just kind of rambling on. But yeah, last year was a tough year for me to. It was a tough way for me to end up. It was tough. It was tough. What am I trying to say? Obviously, I've lost the ability to speak and think. But it was hard in that obviously I was coughing, hacking up a lung. I had a lot going on, and I was very focused on Twitch and trying to launch it and really trying to drive subscriber numbers, viewership numbers, and I think it kind of took over a lot of my kind of became a little obsessed with it, and in a way, there really is no reason to do that. In that I plan on streaming for a while and I'm in it for the long run. So, and there was times when I was like streaming 3 times a week, and it was just too much, and not just streaming, but just being online, posting on different social media, and just reach that point where you kind of question what it is, what the purpose is of all this, and really ultimately I thought about all the different things I do online, and for sure, my main reason is to educate, illuminate, get people excited for the medium of comics, but also get them inspired to draw. And I think that's the primary focus. So I just I'll probably pull back a little on the gaming stuff. I'll still do it for fun, I think, here and there. But the goal is hello. The goal is really to probably stream like 2 to 3 times a month, once a week, and have a week off, and then really kind of focus on the drawing part of it, and also the community part of it. So these are the things I enjoy, right? And so we'll still do the meet and greets and stuff like that for subs at different shows. We obviously have the Discord channel, which I should actually post on the main page so people can refer to it. That's kind of become my de facto website these days. And yeah, so that's the kind of stuff I was thinking about. So I went on vacation with my family, which was awesome. And I really kind of detoxed, kind of went off the grid, offline. And I'll tell you that it's hard because it becomes, it's such an integral part of your life. You don't realize how much you kind of pick up your phone and just kind of nonchalantly, browse your feeds, whatever. And it's look, there's so much written about sort of the I think there was an article about a couple people from Facebook that had kind of worked there and kind of talked about the social impact of it on society and people's interpersonal relationships, blah blah blah. And so I thought that was pretty interesting. But the oddest or most ironic thing about all of this was that when you go off the grid, you can't feel you feel compelled to kind of share those thoughts and the feelings and experiences you're going through with people online, which is completely it contradicts the whole point of kind of going off. And you see countless articles of people like how I stayed off Instagram for you know a month, and and they kind of experience almost like kind of you know the they sort of experience the feelings people have when they quit something that they're addicted to, and those are always funny because here you are back online talking about it, and so I had to kind of avoid those temptations of saying, hey guys, you haven't seen me in a couple weeks, and it's because I'm doing this, and it's awesome, and I'm doing this instead, and being more productive with this, blah 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 blah. And so once you get past that, though, you enter into a period of time where you can just kind of focus on other things that you used to do in life. And so I did a bunch of reading, obviously spent time with the family, and got myself on a regular sleep schedule, which was very important. And so that was one of my main goals coming out of my break, is not to go through life on 3 or 4 hours of sleep if I could help it. And excuse me 1 second. Let me. I need to get an eraser. And I can function on 3 or 4 hours of sleep, but it does impact me emotionally, and you can kind of get through the day, but you're not at your best. You're just feeling kind of tired and haggard. So my goal was, all right, I have to really focus on getting more regular scheduled sleep, and so that's one of the things. But then, of course, my flight. I was in Hawaii, and my flight back home was delayed by almost 3 hours because of a mechanical issue. And so instead of getting home at back home from the airport at 12:30, which was the scheduled time, I got in at like 2:30, 3 o'clock, and I had a cover I had to turn in, and so I was up till like 6:37. So that kind of promptly threw that resolution out the window, but I kind of got caught up on it on my sleep yesterday, and then just trying to get back into that groove. Anyway, so here we are. Let me get caught up. We have a bunch of people that have resubscribed. Excuse me 1 second. Okay, so what are we looking at? All right, so the crazy thing is these glasses help with drawing up close, but not at a 2 foot distance. So I got to take it off to read the screen. We've got Amai has subscribed. We have Michael DeMergers has resubscribed. Welcome back. Kanger Banger has cheered. Thank you very much, Kanger Banger. Ninja Justice has resubscribed. Kalman Sur has resubscribed. Hello, Kalman Sur. What else got? Joanella cheered 500. Will Bruce Art has cheered 500. Thank you very much. Thanks for the bits. Well, Bruce Art, by the way, has, if you go to the Discord channel in one section, I want to say it's art gallery. He shows his tattoos. He's got this whole, I think his arms are both adorned with Batman sleeves. It's pretty incredible. I would definitely check that out. It was pretty awesome to look at. Orange Stang has resubscribed 4 months. Awesome. I think the dark side icon is available in another month or two, like 6 months. So it'll be interesting to see people support that. Avatar. Happy New Year and all in the chat. Tith has cheered 1000. Thank you very much. Booker and Red 400. It's good to see all these familiar names. I know more about them because some of you guys have introduced yourself on the Discord channel, so it's been fun kind of reading everyone's sort of bios. Pity83, thank you very much for resubscribing. When it trains, a lot of people. War 308, 306, sorry. Kanger Banger has subscribed. 2-in-1 has subscribed. This is going to take like half the stream here. Bloodhaven Knight has resubscribed. How were my holidays? Very refreshing. Did a lot of thinking, obviously, and came to a lot of decisions. Jay Kavanagh has, thank you for the bits. Thank you, Book and Red, for the bits. Edgar Skyle, thank you for the bits. Jay Souffle, Happy New Year. Captain 12, Jim Lee, LOL. 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 Snicknity Snick has resubscribed. Oh my gosh. So I think I'm caught up. Yes. Great. Awesome. So thank you guys for all that. It's actually really nice to be back. And like I said, I'm in it for the long haul. This is an important part of kind of how I'm approaching the entire business. But at the same time, I have to reschedule. Right? You know, people ask me, how do you balance work, family, and this? And I think you have to kind of periodically readdress how you schedule your time and realize that it is finite. And so I'm trying to get better at that. So, but the benefit is I will be doing these streams. I will have more energy for these streams, hopefully, and we'll be in it for the long haul. So those are the positives. Okay, Batman Guy has resubscribed, so welcome back. Okay, so yeah, let's see. Yeah, so though if I do a gaming stream though, that will be the one stream for that week. So that's what I'm trying to say. So I will still be doing the portfolio streams too. I will be doing the sketch giveaways, which I know are very popular. But I felt also I was kind of only doing those, and I felt it was becoming a bit work-like. And so again, my focus is really about edification, inspiring people to kind of pick up comic books or that was a weird sound. I didn't know what that was. So those are it was a donation one. Mock, thank you very much. I was like, what is that noise? So Mock did a donation. I appreciate that. And Frickwa also donated. Great. This is a great way to start off the year. Anyway, so what was I saying? Yeah, so I want to also get back into kind of teaching things. So it's not just about tuning in and watching me draw your favorite character and having a chance to win it for free. Obviously, that will remain because I know it's popular. But at the same time, that's a very different kind of thing. So I'm going to just start off with this warm-up sketch of Batman. I will give it away to anyone that's in channel. This will be open to all. Happy New Year. We've got 3 hours scheduled. So I was going to... thank you, Janela, for the bits. Now I was going to actually focus on something that Crispy had brought up. Something about... well, I'll get to that later. Let me just finish this up real quick, all right? I can kind of ramble and talk at the same time. I turned down the volume on my mic because I think I was watching these YouTube plays. I know some of you guys watch it. You don't watch this live, you watch it when I repost it onto YouTube days later, and they're saying my mic volume was too loud, so I wanted to adjust that. So we're gonna get this back in here. It's it's just standard Batman shot. Done this not quite 1,000,000 times, but I'm sure 1,000 times. They all turn out slightly different, so it's always kind of fun process for me to see, oh, it's Batman with kind of a longer forehead, Batman with a shorter forehead, Batman with a nose that's flatter, or so there's always slight different variations of it, but it's fairly easy for me to draw. I'll tell you that on my break, I did not bring my PC laptop. I didn't bring in a laptop at all, so I couldn't game. I basically took my iPad, and I wish I could be proud. I wish I could have been strong enough to say I didn't game at all, but that wasn't quite the truth. After a while, it kind of broke down, and because my kids were all gaming heavily. Mason got a Switch, and so he was playing Zelda, which looked pretty amazing. And so I'd kind of watch him play in the hotel room. And then the two youngest kids are 6 and 4, and they're just huge into their iPads, and they just basically play any game that they find. So I downloaded this. I think I saw him play this tank game, so I downloaded this tank game, and I got really into this tank game. I mean, it's something you could play for literally 10 minutes at a time and just kind of stop, and it's no big deal. Okay. 1 second. Okay. 1 second, guys. Okay. Is it World of Tanks Blitz? You know what? I'm gonna find out. 1 second. Sorry, sorry. Um, 1 second. I know. I'm still getting reacquainted with all this here. And all right, so it's called, what is it called? It's called War Machines. Look at that. So that's my tank. It's a Panther tank. But you basically can upgrade its its engine, its chassis, its tracks, its gun to improve your rate of fire, your armor, your movement, all that kind of stuff. And it's very basic, but at the same time, it's very addictive. You're basically playing against other players on these very basic maps, cities, outdoors, whatever. And the matches, I want to say, are like 2.5 minutes long, so it goes very, very quickly. And but it's one of those games where they're always like hitting you up every 5 seconds to pay them money to get coins or diamonds or whatever, so that you can upgrade faster and own your opponents faster. But it looks super casual, so I can't imagine who actually spends that money doing that. But at the same time, I did felt tempted at times, like, oh, I could do this and own these other kids in this tank game faster or better. I don't know what I was thinking, but I resisted the urge. And but anyway, so I did play a little bit of that. So I'll give them a brief plug. I didn't buy any coins from them, but I'll give them a brief plug. And then people join clans and have matchups, I think, or something like that. I don't know. But they're tanks from all around the world. When you log in, it knows where you're playing from, and so your tank has a flag icon, and so it's there's a little bit of a nationalistic kind of aspect to it, where you're taking on players from all around the world. Can't help but feel a little patriotic in your tank battles. Anyway, so like I said, I have not drawn in a while, although I did draw on the trip once. I did draw once. I was at dinner for my father's birthday. He was born on the 1st. So we went to a nice restaurant in Maui, and I saw these people at another table staring at me. And well, first I thought they were staring at my wife, which would be normal, I guess. But then I kind of realized they were looking at me. And then, and for all the people that think when they do stare at someone trying to recognize them or whatever, it's no one's ever really subtle about it. And I know I've done the same thing when I've met people. But anyway, so there was a fan at another table. He came over, gave me a note. It's very, very sweet, and he was very kind. And he was a college student. And just in the note, he just kind of talked about how he liked my work and how it was a big part of his childhood. And so on a glass toaster, I basically drew a very quick Batman shot and gave it to him when he and his family were leaving. But yeah, that was the one time I drew the past 2 or 3 weeks. So, and then when I got back, I hit the ground running. I had to do this cover, turn that in, stayed up all night, turned that in, but that just completely whacked out my sleep schedule. Slept a ton yesterday. Gamed a little bit for the first time on a console in several weeks. That was rough going. And just reacquainting myself with all the controls. And yeah, so that's it. That's kind of been my past couple weeks. But like I said, it was a great trip. Really reinvigorated me, recharged my batteries as it were, and gave me a lot of time to think about what I wanted to accomplish this year. And one of them is to do more work, more panel-to-panel comic book work, and that just requires time. And so that time has to come from other places. And so I've had to kind of look at my schedule and figure out, again, I need to schedule time for sleep, and then I need to schedule time for work. Obviously, time for family, that's the first priority, and then everything else. And so the days of streaming 3 days a week probably are behind us. But I want to say that the quality of the streams will improve, right? So that's always the bargain, I guess. That said, man, I've got so much travel ahead of my schedule. It's kind of scary. Unfortunately, it's none of it that I can avoid. It's all business related. And as you can see, what I'm doing here, I'm just building up textures. I'm just kind of not even thinking about what I'm drawing. I'm just kind of warming up the muscles, as it were. And so going over my schedule, I have next week going to this DC and DC event. I leave Thursday. I return Sunday. I'm signing Friday and Saturday. So I will have that. Let me see if I can. 1 second. Let me see. Got it. 1 second. There's always something. One second. All right, there we go. Sorry, I had the chroma key on. Thank you, Kate, for that. Well, now let's Renee. So we have two mods here, Kate and Renee, Elephant, and I also want to announce that we are upgrading Crispy to full-on mod. He's been super instrumental on the Discord channel, but I also wanted to bring a third person involved, and he's definitely the saltiest mod that we have. But look, if all of you guys vote and say no, I'm willing to overturn that decision. I realize that. Anyway, congrats, Crispy. Trust the egg roll. No vote. Anyway, so like I said, check out the Discord channel. He and Renee and Kate have put off a lot of time into it, and it will be good to have that third person again towards this idea of balancing our schedule. Kate keeps insane hours. I feel for her in terms of the dedication. Well, obviously she's super dedicated, but I know that it's got to be hard, and it takes its toll. So I want to make sure that we have people that are helpful and being able to mod, but also kind of live their lives and do the things outside of Twitch and being online. A sword. There should be like some sort of virtual sword. I knight you, whatever mod. Anyway, Holy Arts and Crafts Batman has subscribed. Thank you very much. Jay Skipper Colorist has subscribed. Hey Jay Skipper. Hey Jeremy. How are you doing, man? Good to see you again. Black Trisis has subscribed. Frickwa has subscribed. I think I said that already. Or Bobby360 has resubscribed. Psychosis has subscribed. Anyway, so we have our team of 3. And they can send me messages when my chroma key is on. So all right. So I've got this Batman here, and he's kind of a thin Batman in that the distance from here to here to here, I feel like this could be bigger. So again, like I say, when you draw Batman over and over, there are times you draw it and go like, this one turned out a little different. So right off the bat there, that feels a little better to me. Right. Then I'm going to take some ink. And then I've got some paper here, paper towel. And so on this one, I'm just going to go for it. Like I said, I haven't drawn in a while. I don't know what I'm going to do with this, but normally I put the inks this on the background, but I think this time I'm going to try, see what happens. Probably nothing good. Want to kind of ink with it a little bit. Kind of want to do something that's a little more expressionistic with this Batman. Let's see what happens. Probably nothing good. That's probably a reason why I just do this on the backgrounds, right? There's an artist name, I can't remember his name, Argentinian artist Jorge Safino. He has passed, but he did he did a lot of comics, I think, for the European South American market, but he did come into the American market for a brief while. He did a project, a Punisher graphic novel, I think, back in the 80s, I think, which was amazing, and really loved the way he inked. It was so loose and energetic and expressionistic, like I said, and so he's a guy that I actually count as an influence now more than it was back in the day, because I was doing something that was very kind of slick and tight. So I'm playing up the fact that this is kind of drying out, this this towel, and so it gives me a lighter line. And I am aware of the shape that it has, so it's kind of like a brush. I'm not just kind of randomly dabbing it. I know kind of the shape that I've created. And let's see what happens if I keep doing this. I don't know why I'm doing this. This is something you would do when you've kind of warmed up quite a bit, I think, at this point. But I do like the idea of throwing myself in the deep end and just kind of forcing myself to react to the challenges I've put on the paper. So I went from this very kind of sketchy, detailed drawing where I was going to build up layer and layer through cross-hatching. And now I've kind of overwritten that with this very kind of smeared blobby effect. Okay. Thank you, Francis Pett, for subscribing. Thank you, L Drummer 45 for the bits. Appreciate it. Ignite Comics for the bits. Thank you very much. Very cool of you guys. Shane Roth has resubscribed, and Dave C. Prez has resubscribed. Rotten Rock, James Grime. So, yes. DJ, it is going till 1 o'clock, yes. Okay. All right. So I've got that. This is super absorbent. That's why I usually use toilet paper or Kleenex, which are both absorbent too, but this paper towel is highly absorbent, so okay, so I've got this, and then this is the background. And you know, I use this technique because it smears and gives me a nice sort of gray with kind of fuzzy edges, but it's also a faster way of inking than using a brush. It covers area faster, and so I've been kind of using this exclusively to fill in large areas. So now I'm really kind of creating an abstract image, kind of using these black areas. So at this point, let's not even think about it being Batman, and just think about it as a black and white abstract piece of art. And you can do that by just kind of squinting at it, right? And I think it's a pleasing array of shapes and sizes. Okay. And the idea behind this is that he is in the Batcave. Thank you, Spice Girl 186. Yep, for resubscribing. The yip yip. I don't know if you guys watch Black Mirror or not. I was talking about this yesterday with some of the mods. Black Mirror on Netflix, season 4, episode 1. It's called the USS Callister, and I love Star Trek: The Original Series, and they do this awesome spoof uh, sh- episode of Black Mirror inspired by the original Star Trek show. And in it, I'm not gonna, there's no spoilers, but in it they cheer the captain on by going hip hip hooray. So I thought of yip yip, but it's if you have never seen the show, check it out. If you like Star Trek: The Original Series, check it out. It was really, really awesomely done. I was like, how did they spend the money for this? Like, I mean, obviously they used a lot of CGI, but the level of CGI was just right, and the sets and everything. I think the sets were all CGI, but just really awesome. All right, so now I've got this basic kind of abstract thing going for me, and thank you, Chris Koibler, for subscribing. Appreciate it. Anyway, the first episode of season 1 with the pigs was pretty nuts. Yes, that one was. That's where no, well, that's spoiler, but that's where the Prime Minister of London, to stop some sort of terrorist threat or something, has to fornicate with a pig on live TV, or I don't know. It was pretty crazy. I think I've only seen like a handful of episodes each season for whatever reason. I'm gonna go try to go back in, and that's the other thing. So part of balancing my time is giving myself the time to watch shows, read books. These are all important things to kind of refresh your creative energies or your creative batteries. And so I wanted to get back into that, and do that with my family, and kind of have that family time there on top of that as well. I've been fortunate enough to build out this theater room in the house, but I can count on one hand how many times I used it last year, just because I've just been so busy. You feel guilty like watching a movie, because there's all this other stuff to do, and so I want to get away from that feeling of guilt, and spend that time and kind of get back in there, watch those old episodes of Star Trek again, but also just read. And so now I'm going back in and adding detail, taking these kind of areas that I've kind of blocked in and making them into more definable shadows, so it looks less smudgy and more like, just add cuts into the shapes. So I've got this sort of nebulous shadow here, but I'm going to basically trap it by basically drawing a thin outline around that shape and bending it to my will here. So, all right. Okay. And I do that by basically cross-hatching out of that area, putting a boundary around it, or semi-boundary, and then cross-hatching out into it, into the white. Okay, it just kind of gives it a more defined edge. And obviously, where I've gone over, like in this area here, I'm going to hit it with white out and clean that up and pick up that edge again. I don't really recommend this approach to drawing. I don't know really. I think I will be drawing a Batman project where I'm inking it myself in the near future, I think. And so I do this because I do want to do something different than what I've done traditionally. And so it's going to be more expressionistic, I think. And so maybe that's where this is coming from. It's not just me randomly deciding to do something different, but me sort of subconsciously already kind of tinkering with different approaches to drawing, I guess, black and white inking. Okay. So now I'm just kind of playing off these shapes that I put in with the paper towel, and again, defining them. Right, this blob here is the shadow of his ear. And so I'm just basically adding an outline like that. Okay. Does it look like it's tightening up a bit? I don't know if at the height of the camera whether you can see that kind of detail or not. Yeah, so I can tell. Okay, great. So it is. So even this, look at this black shape. It's like this random thing. This should be more black, and if I was just inking it normally, this whole area would be the same value, and this would be dark fading to light. And so I can do that with the pen. All right, so I'm gonna taper that gray value, and then I'm gonna even up and darken. Right, so I'm just kind of continually see how that's getting darker and darker there. Okay, I'm gonna darken this area here, that area. Put up for whatever reason. If you look at your face, the area right underneath your eye where that tear duct is, you have your eyeball, right? Your optic nerve back here. Right? Then you have a fold of skin that goes over your eyelid. And then, right? There's your eyelid, your eyebrow. And then there's another, your lower eyelid goes underneath here. It's a tear duct here. But where this plane and this plane meet are super important. Right? If I did a vertices type drawing, it would look like this. That's your cheek. So where these lines, where the planes change direction, right? So they're relatively flat here, and then they go down like this. If there's light up here, this is where your shadows show up, right? And so your shadows are going to appear on this lower lid, because from the side, if I could exaggerate a little bit, here's the eyeball, optic nerve. Got to always draw that in. You have your eyeball here. Right? Let me use a Sharpie. Right? If that's your eyebrow. So your shadows, an important shadow is right there. Okay. Same way the cheeks here, and then under the nose is here. And you'll see painters do this a lot. They'll actually do a white highlight right here. So the white highlights you'll see on a face are typically right at the juncture where the light's coming this way, the eye basically blocks it, but the light picks up again right underneath that eye. So when you think of highlights on a face, you'll see painters basically put a little bit of white here and here, which is right underneath the shadows here. They'll do it obviously on the side or the ridge line of the nose, maybe a little on each nostril. They'll pick up on these little highlights here, maybe a little light here, lower lip here, on the chin here, and a little on these cheekbones, because that's where they pick up light, and then along this kind of forehead. Okay. Thank you, Jonella, for the bits. Thank you. Appreciate that. So if you notice, almost all the highlights are right at the edge of the darkest areas of the shadows of the face, right? Where I put them. So that's useful in both drawing and doing color work as well. So these dark shadows I put here, typically it's the underside of this eyeball here. Okay, I'm gonna make this a little darker. Okay, see how that looks. Okay. So did that make sense? It is helpful? Good. Can I get that eye sketch? Do people want things like this? I don't know. Okay. No, I mean the art. I can mail that out too. It's it's kind of like a looks like a to-do list from a grocery store. Yeah, going to the grocery store, kind of a, I don't know what I'm trying to say. What does it look like? It looks like a sketchbook page. That's what it looks like. A to-do list from the grocery store. All right, now I'm just kind of beefing up areas. Now I'm going to fix this. This area here is problematic. It's too flat. It's just one gray, and I basically need to adjust that. Okay. All right. So I need to. So even these shadows. What do I got? This is the shadow of the nose. Right. Here's the other end of the lip there. That this over here is this part of the face right here. Lower lip. The face, when it kind of grimaces, kind of forms these canyons right here and here. Or they get darker and then fade out. Again, the shadow is darkest here, and then it fades out into the open. The light picks up on it again. And so I'm darkening all these values up. So got that going on. Okay. And then I feel like this needs to be darkened here. And then, like I said, this whole gray area should probably be darker. So I'm just lightly going over with this marker to create darker values. All right, just kind of fine tuning it as I go along. And the cross hatching is the quickest way of making it darker. Parallel lines kind of gives you a middle gray, but lines that intersect give you a darker gray, and picking one more angle on top of that, right? There's one gray, darker gray, even darker gray. Darker gray yet. All right, so that's what I'm doing. I'm creating, here's white, here's black. Pretend this is all black, guys. One gray, two gray. These are closer together. Create a darker gray. So if you squint at this spectrum, you'll see that I'm basically creating values of gray, which is what you would do if you used a pencil to draw this, but the old days of publishing could not publish pencils. The technology wasn't sophisticated. Nowadays you can do it, but people still crosshatch. All right. See what I did there? Yeah, you guys had to do this in there first. Great. Anyway, so that's what I'm doing with this. And actually I can go in and actually add even lighter grays. I could have done all this middle gray tone with pencil rather than ink, but I kind of like the texture that I get from the smeared ink. It's different than a pencil. It's scarier than using a pencil. Okay. All right. Okay. And that looks very dark here. And so I'm just going to make things around it darker so it doesn't stand out. When you have something that's too dark, you can either lighten it or you can make the, and you want to basically make it so it doesn't stand out so much compared to the areas around it. You could either lighten the area that you just made too dark, or you can darken the areas around the dark area, right? It's like that Mitch Hedberg joke. Like, I wanted to whiten my teeth, but I got a suntan instead. So that's the joke. That's the thinking. And that's the poor delivery of someone who's not a comedian. All right. Spence52 trying to subscribe and it's not letting me. That damn Twitch not letting you subscribe. What's going on with that? You need to take full accountability for your actions. I'm trying to subscribe, but I am failing. I cannot. The technology is here, but I cannot decipher it. I don't know. I think there's a button. I should probably leave the comedy to Steve Burns. Steve Burns, awesome. Jim, may I have the lighting guide scratch sketch after you're done? Shameless ask, I know. Sorry, just a huge fan. I'm gonna give it away. Both of these will be. Sounds like my parents. I sound like your parents. I can't get my phone screen to auto dim. No, I feel like I'm still teaching my kids how to use their technology. Lucas is quickly passing me on that, but I feel like I have him on the latest tech news. Like, you know, kids will always be like, "Hey, have you heard about this?" And I go, "Yes," months ago when they announced it. So I'm still ahead of the curve there, but they are getting better at it. But at some point, I know it will be like how it was with my parents, like where they couldn't program a VCR or use a TV and switch the sources. Right, to this day, my parents, I hooked up like 4 different devices to their TV, like a PlayStation, Blu-ray player, cable TV, Korean cable box, and I would have to drive over to their house if they wanted to switch the source on their TV. They didn't quite understand the concept. And I still don't think they know what the internet is and how it gets to their phone. Yeah. Anyway. Mining. The whole concept of mining is confusing. Oh, is Poop Kid talking about Bitcoin? I think he he knows nothing about comics. He doesn't even game. He has his friend who I think he's just a Bitcoin guy. But when we play PUBG, I've learned a lot about Bitcoin from. That was a big thing. I bought some Bitcoin this winter. Any other Bitcoin enthusiasts, gamblers? It really is just gambling. I'll tell you right now. It's it's not a fad though. I don't think it's not like I remember when rap music came on the scene. I was like, this is just a fad. This things will, and of course it was not. But yeah, I was there. I bought Run DMC, and it changed everything. Music is rock and roll, kind of still big in Europe. So thank the Europeans for that. But in America, it's rap music and all these female teen pop stars, or let's just say pop stars. There's some male ones too. So Bitcoin mining. Okay. Here's my understanding of it. I'll give you the brief explanation. And I wish there was a way for you guys to downvote stuff. Like if you didn't like it, I mean, obviously, if you like something, you can cheer with bits. You can donate whatever. But if you hate something, there's really no way of expressing that in Twitch. Like it won't even say so and so has unfollowed you for being a boring, rambling asshole. I'm a jerk. Thank you, Optimus X, for subscribing. Vote down everything Crispy says. This is what chat is for. Send the middle finger emoji. See, Matt Wag has just subscribed as a vote of confidence. It's also positive. Everything on social media is so positive. Don't they have down buttons somewhere? My ears of the profanity. Okay. So the way I understand cryptocurrency, Bitcoin, okay, they created a certain amount. It's finite, and that's my explanation. No, it's Imagine, so this is how I sort of explain to my kids. I try to break it down. It's not quite the answer, but I think it. Imagine that you have money in a bank, and you need to keep track of that money. All right. So I have $10 in the bank. I've loaned out $4 to this person. He's going to repay it back. This person has purchased something. All these people are using the money, and there's a finite number of coins. But I need to keep track of the money. Otherwise, I don't know where it is because there's no dollar bills. And because it's finite, if I don't keep a record of it, then there's inflation, and people won't have any security or faith in their purchases that they actually have what they think they have. So think about all the number of coin that are out there in this whatever cryptocurrency that we're looking at, and it's being used to purchase, or it's being transferred from dollars into Bitcoin or whatever. People are using the Bitcoin to buy pizzas, $12,000 pizzas. Back in the day, people that bought pizzas with Bitcoin. If they look back on it now, they probably spent thousands of dollars for that pizza. My barber got paid in Bitcoin years ago, and he's got like $40,000 now from a couple of these haircuts that this guy paid him with Bitcoin. Anyway, so all these transactions are happening, and because there's no actual currency that can be counted, someone has to keep track of it. And so think of a ledger. A ledger is all these transactions happening. And so mining is, they're basically using computers or to keep track of all these transactions. So each of these transactions, when you complete it, it's a hash, I think. And if you do, and there's software that keeps track of it. So when you do it properly and have everything done, you have created the latest snapshot version of where all these coins are and what they were used for. There's a way for them to double check this. Well, that's what the problem solving is. And once you solve it, you've now created the ledger, and so that becomes the new state of the currency, where everything is and what it was used for, and that then gets added into a pile of hashes. And so people are constantly solving where all the money is, and it's a complex thing to figure out. It involves a lot of computing power, and that's what people do when they're mining. But when you mine, it takes a lot of time and computing power, and that requires electricity. And so for most people, unless you've got a supercomputer in Arctic conditions, they say that basically the costs of computing, figuring out these hashes, figuring out these transactions, creating mining, can cost more than the actual resources it takes to do it. And it's very time consuming. It's very slow, and so it's hard to. You guys are already confused? Okay, all right, I'll stop. It's free money, folks. That's all you need to know. Okay. So anyway, as people solve, basically, and then so when people calculate where all this money is, they get paid in Bitcoin. So that's the mining. That's the mining part of it. So you're basically doing a service and getting paid with the money that's actually what you're keeping track of. Okay. You can make like $2 a day mining some currencies, except you're spending like $5 a day on power to do so. Yeah, exactly. But I was trying to explain what mining is, and I didn't understand it for a long time until I read up a little bit about it. But it's basically bookkeeping in a very complex way. But that bookkeeping is required to keep that currency honest. So everyone knows what they have and got paid what they thought they were going to get paid. Anyway, thanks, Ralph Sind. So, but in terms of what they are, I mean, they're not backed by anything, but neither is dollars. It used to be backed by gold, but it's not. And the thing with dollars is that they're constantly adding more to cover their bills. That's why we have such a huge federal deficit. And that's why at the end of every year, Congress basically, there's all these threats of government shutdown because they've run out of money. And their solution at the end of the day is just to print more of it. And you can see the dangers of doing that. So, I know you tuned into this Twitch stream to talk about economics. So, technically, the dollar is backed by debt. Yeah. I think the idea, though, is that eventually the dollar will be worth more than the debt, right? And that's why people keep buying into the system. But we've all decided that a green piece of paper has value, and so it has value. And so if we've all decided that this cryptocurrency has value, it does. And so it's just weird because they're proliferating at such a fast rate. And the only thing that's kind of propping them up is the security of the code itself so that people can't abuse the system and create fake coins out of nothing. But also all of our collective decision and belief that this cryptocurrency has value. And it's a powerful thing. But Poop Kid is my cryptocurrency expert. All right, so now I'm just using whiteout here and cleaning up some of the mistakes and some of the edges. Did I just say mistakes? There are no mistakes. Just cleaning up some of the. Look at that. What the heck? Created like the. It looks like there's basically snow crystallizing on the back of Batman's back here. It's very cold in Gotham City. I heard it's actually super, super cold. Are any of you guys just freezing out there? Because we Californians, we just want to taunt you. Happy accidents. That's it. Happy accidents. My friend called me a scammer for telling him about Icon. It's not scamming. I'm in Massachusetts and it's 10 degrees. So cold, so cold. -10 in Scotland. TDK fan, I'm freezing in Boston. Very cold for Bermuda. Yeah. That's a humble brag right there. It's 58 degrees. Very cold for Bermuda. No, it's probably like 75. It's very cold for Bermuda. In Bamberg, Germany, it is warm. How is that possible? It's winter. Okay. I'll beef up his neck here. Ready. Reposition that highlight. And that is the first Twitch stream sketch for 2018. Okay. All right, let me see what I got here. Excuse me. All right. Bamfart. Banff Art. Sorry. Banff Art. So important where you put that stop. Ayo, will the new Batman project have more shadows and grittiness to it? Monotone color scheme if colored. Likely. I mean, I don't know if it will be this year, next year, whatever. I've talked about it before. The desire is to, I enjoy inking myself, and I've done it on a couple different pieces here and there, especially some Batman ones. And so I've always just wanted to do something where I could kind of go to town. If you check out Batman White Knight by Sean Murphy, I'm very jealous of that project. It's him penciling, inking his own vision of Batman, and looks like a lot of fun. You could tell that he's having a lot of fun with how he's inking and experimenting, and those are things that they're inspirational. Jonella has cheered. Thank you so much. Spice Girl has cheered with some bits. Thank you for the bits. I appreciate it. Yeah. So I'm going to give this away rather than doing it at the end for the people that have been tuning in. It's 11:37. So let's go to... Okay. Okay. I think you have to say something in chat. I'm up to 140. Crispy, you did get modded in chat, but the chances of you winning are slim because I have you on the special cannot win list that's here on this Nightbot giveaway eligibility channel. No, that doesn't exist. It doesn't exist. Okay. All right. Make that a little darker in there. Make the eyes a little darker on this one. A little moodier. Oh, you know what? With these kind of... there was a plan to it. Let me see if I can make this plan work here. The idea was that he was going to be in the Batcave. And for me to sell this properly, I think I need a brush and some ink. Yes, they are Sakura pens. Has everyone seen Star Wars? I know we were waiting for Kate. She said that it might take her another 3 or 4 months to see it because there's only apparently four fans in all of Switzerland that are into science fiction. Please, no spoilers? Really? Mallory B. Wilson? It's only been like 2 months. No, unfortunately. I know you watched it, Kate. I'm just. We talked about it before. I'm just goofing on you. This is trippy. In the '90s, I could only see you on videotape. Now I can watch you live. Screen stare. Not only watch me live, you could have me read what you just wrote and show you my command of English. Pretty impressive, isn't it? All right. Can I talk about it? No? First off, let me just say I like the movie a lot. I've only seen it once, but I want to see it again. And I liked it more than The Force Awakens. I liked it a little less than Rogue One, which was just awesome. I thought Rogue One was more a movie for people in my demographic. The Force Awakens, I felt was a movie for my kids. I like to reintroduce them to the magic of Star Wars. But The Last Jedi was kind of in between in that it had elements like The Empire Strikes Back, where there was setbacks to the rebellion, but they moved the story forward of the new characters that they introduced in The Force Awakens. Some of the characters I really was not that into, but now I'm intrigued. Now I'm excited. I'm interested. So that was cool. And I'm not one to rag on story specifics because when I've done that in the past, not rag on it, when I've commented on it, people have taken like my Instagram posts and made like articles, like I wrote a website, a movie review or something. I'm like, not really. I would have spent more time on my just sort of random thoughts online if I knew you were going to do that. It felt a little unethical to me, actually. All right, so, but there is a scene in The Last Jedi that really made me go, what the hell? What? What? And I wanted to see if you guys felt the same way. Anyone guess what that? First off, yeah, I mean, I think people complain too much in general. Look, I love it that you love the mythos, but the vitriol you see online about what happens to characters, I mean, this is storytelling. I mean, whether it's a DC movie, Marvel movie, Star Wars, like, you have to give the filmmakers the ability to tell their stories. And they're not always going to hit the mark, but, these petitions and stuff, it's just, I don't get it. But maybe it's a generational thing. But the thing I'm going to complain about is not that. There's a scene where the female stormtrooper who's in a silver outfit. Does anyone know the character's name? There are no spoilers. Captain Phasma. She gets shot with the energy bolt. And the energy bolt bounces off her armor. And I'm like, what the hell? What? What? They have armor that can deflect energy bolts. Makes sense. They have star destroyers that can go into light space. They have weapons that can destroy cities, planets. They have things that could pull along on on the floor of a planet and vaporize buildings. So they figured out how to make armor that deflects bolts. That's fantastic. Except they only have one person that has it. Maybe they should build one less Star Destroyer and thousands of more invulnerable suits of armor for their stormtroopers. There you go, Brandon. Why not put the armor on all your stormtroopers? Is it super expensive? I don't know. I don't understand. I don't understand. Because I just have a general thing about blasters in Star Wars. If you look, the stormtroopers are all wearing armor, and not only are they wearing armor, they're wearing white armor, which, unless you're fighting in snow, not the greatest look. But you figure, oh, we can wear white armor because we're the stormtroopers. We're badass because our armor deflects bolts. We're protected from these energies, but they're not. Yet they still wear them. Meanwhile, the rebels are wearing cloth armor. Yeah, they're wearing cloth armor essentially, running around. And if you watch Rogue One, stormtroopers are getting hit, going down like crazy. There's a scene in particular where the rebels are running. They're getting shot multiple times. They hit the floor, they get back up and keep running. I'm like, what? How is this possible? Right? You know? Yeah, the black. And then, okay, all right, all right, I should stop because this is showing how insane I am. They have weapons in Star Wars that, again, can vaporize planets. They've solved the riddle of faster than light travel. But they can't create a blaster that fires a bolt faster than 1 per second. Pew, pew, pew. They don't have only weapons that go like fire a million bolts at once. We solved that during World War II, 70 years ago or 80 years ago. How come they don't have a blaster that can fire 1,000 bolts per second? I think when they attacked Hoth, they showed like the Empire. They had like these big standing stationary weapons that seemed to fire bolts a little faster, but still super slow. How come I can go to Nevada and buy an automatic weapon that fires faster than a blaster? How's that possible? It's the only thing that gets me. And then in Star Trek, they have a phaser that shoots a beam, and it's one beam of light. What happens if you're off? You need to adjust your aim. Does that beam of light just move? I mean, I don't know. I don't know. You're shooting a photon. You're shooting a beam of light that's slower than a beam of light. Have you thought about that? Right? When you shoot a tracer, the tracer's flying because the tracer has a speed. It glows because it's made that way. We see the tracer glowing because the speed of light, that photon from that tracer to our eye, is almost instantaneous. It's super, super fast, right? 3 to the millions of miles per second or whatever. But if you're shooting a beam of light, it should move at the speed of light. It should be instantaneous to the human eye. And in Star Trek, it goes. So I'm not sure what they're shooting because it's not a tracer, it's not a projectile. It sure looks like a beam of light, but it's traveling slower than the speed of light. Okay, I gotta stop. It's gonna drive me crazy. I'm reading channel here. Stop ruining fake sci-fi with logic. Did Rogue One have a laser chain gun? All right, I gotta watch it. They have one laser chain gun. If they have devices that can go faster than the speed of light, they should have weapons of mass destruction, like daisy chain type. Like our military has these bombs that are daisy chains, just or the warthogs, the A-10s, the gunships. The rate of fire on these things are insane. Oh, well, hold on. All right, 1 second. I'll be right back. Had to get another drink. What was I going to say? What was I saying right before I left? I forgot. All right, well, we're going to do this giveaway. We have right, here we go. The winner is Castle Geek Skull. So congrats, Castle Geek Skull. Castle Geek Skull is not even following. Congrats. What am I drinking? I'm drinking some. Apparently, this is a hipster brand. I don't know. My daughters bought this. Okay. Okay. What was I going to say? What was I going to say? The guns. I'll just keep trying. I'm sure it will come to me later. What was it? Oh, here's another water too. I've got load them up over here. Was it Star Wars? What was it that? It wasn't just the weapons. Weapons of mass destruction. What else? Was it Star Trek? I can't remember. Okay. Who is the cutout person behind Jim? It's Flat Ronnie. It's from a radio show, the Howard Stern show. If you guys follow that, you'll know what that is. Talk about the phasers shooting at the speed of light. Yeah, it was a completely different topic. Not different topic, but it was related to space travel. Well, I remember reading a whole book that was talking about sort of the science of Star Trek and being able to have beam communications between Starfleet headquarters and spaceships and how difficult that would be to have real time communications. But man, there was something else. Rate of fire of weapons. I don't know. It'll come to me. The Earth is flat. All right. So now I'm going to move to a different part of the stream, inspired by Crispy Egg Roll, who over the break had asked me about books about drawing. And the one I point to, I've mentioned it, and oh, you know what? We'll give this away too. So let me give this away as well so I don't forget. Okay. And to make this interesting. What happened to my pen? Is I will draw the atom here. This is how you draw a very small figure. I should probably do that as a subject at some point, right? He's trying to get in this guy's. There's the atom. So at least has a superhero context. Okay. All right. Here we go. It is Night Raven X, following September 10th, and has subbed. Congrats. Okay. All right, so now we're moving on to a stage where I'm addressing something that Crispy wrote. So I sent him, I told him, look, George Bridgman, Bridgeman. The books are available on Amazon.com. I went to a library and borrowed the book forever. And it was a pretty thick book, and it had all these different chapters on how to draw hands, bodies. And I had looked at a lot of different art books at the time, but this one really unlocked a lot of things in my head and allowed me to make, I think, some vast improvements in what I was doing. Queen City Amusements, thank you for resubbing. Appreciate it. Just Film Me has resubscribed. Jonelle has cheered some more. Thank you for the bits. Super generous. I appreciate it. Kira says, I need to learn anatomy. So we're going to learn a little anatomy here. Exciting. Okay. And, well, anyway, so I told Crispy about this book. And then I said, like, the next time I was talking to him in Mod Chat on Discord, I said, like, how's it going? He said, yeah, I don't know. I'm still reading it. I'm like, what? What are you reading? I didn't read anything. I just looked at the pictures. It's an art book, not an art reading book. I mean, you can read it. I did read it. I'm just busting balls. But at the end of the day, yeah, there's a lot of verbiage in there, but just look at the pictures, and it's self-explanatory, I think. So I just thought it was amusing that he was reading this book. Anyway, the books, I think, are available on Amazon. I don't think they have the hardcover complete edition anymore. I think you roll Bruce Art for the bits. I really appreciate it. I think they sell them individually, where it's hands and heads and bodies and stuff like that. But I'm gonna do it very quickly for you, and it ties into, I think, a little of Jack Kirby's work and how to get dynamic figure work out of your drawing, right? So essentially, what I got out of George Bridgman is that you don't need to know all the individual muscles. Like this is a pec right here. I could demo it for you, but it's a PG-13 stream, and bicep. You can see that. Yeah. Anyway, elbow, right? Elbow's not a muscle, but triceps. So three muscles here, two muscles here. So there are all these different muscles. I don't know the names of any of them except for the ones I just mentioned. Lats, glutes, I think. And I thought when I started my career that it was super important. I got Gray's Anatomy. My dad had that book. He was a doctor. So I was like looking through and said, if I just memorize all these muscles, I can put it all together and understand the human body. But then it doesn't really work that way. And the reason why it doesn't work that way is that if you know a muscle, a bicep muscle looks like this in resting and pose, and a tricep goes like this. Maybe the bicep. That's Crispy's arm. Sorry, I don't. Trying to. Anyway, so these muscles change shape when they are flexed or turned, right? So like you look at this muscle, right? You see how it moves. Anyway, thank you, Luca Morel. Okay. So it's more important to know the clusters of muscles, the shapes, the overall shape of it, and understand that that shape changes depending on the position of the body. And so memorizing what a muscle looks like is kind of pointless because the muscle changes shape in different poses: extension, contraction, flexing, not flexing. So what's more important is to understand the basic building blocks. And so the one that doesn't change shape a lot is your chest, because it's primarily bones. It can compress a little and expand a little bit, but for the most part, you have your shoulder slots, your chest, and the bottom of your rib cage right here, right? If this is your rib cage, okay, and that's your shoulder slot, and then looking through this, you can see the other shoulder slot, because this is a 3/4 angle, right? Right? We all know what a 3/4 angle is. I don't even know why it's called a 3/4 angle. Maybe because it's at 75%. So if something's flat, it's 100%, 75%. Okay, whatever. All right, so that's the torso. This is the middle line. So there's the pec muscle here, pec muscle there, ribs here. Okay. And so knowing what this shape is critical. And here's where the neck fits in. It's kind of... Okay. It's like chest armor. If you have an action figure, you put chest armor. Autofocus. Oh my God. Thank you, Crispy. I knew you were good for something. I mean, thank you so much for being an amazing mod. All right. I always do this. Not there, but on the art. Sorry about that. It's been probably doing that the whole time. All right. I've turned off autofocus. It looks like a KS2. It looks like a K2S0 chest plate. You out-nerded me there, Rich. I have no idea what that is. All right. Okay. Yeah, so if you break open a G.I. Joe, that's your chest, okay? Now, when people are standing still, this chest, and then you have to be able to draw the pelvis. The pelvis has 2 slots underneath, if you're bipedal. Right? You guys can see this. I don't need to ink it, right? Anyway, and that's the pelvis. Okay. It mirrors pretty much the pelvis bone. But also, if you break apart a G.I. Joe, these are the two pieces, and there's a ball that kind of sits in the middle, a rubber band that connects the two, which is interesting because that's an interesting way of looking at it. So the center of mass of the torso, the center of mass of that pelvis are the same. When they're aligned on top of each other, people are standing pretty much up and down. Okay? They're not dynamic. They're in a position of rest. If you look at Jack Kirby's figures, this point and this point, A and B, let's say, point A and B are usually as far apart as possible without breaking the structure, the backbone of the figure itself. And what happens when you move that pelvis away from the torso is that you now have bodies that are essentially off balance, right? And what that does, okay, is it creates momentum, it creates movement in your figure. And then all you do is connect the top to the bottom. Then you can put the rest of the appendages. Now you've got a character like the Flash. That's running. Okay? Or any kind of Wolverine type pose, or a Batman where he's kind of got one arm down, one arm back with a fist clenched like that. His chest is here. His pelvis is sometimes off center, right? That's the center of mass there, center of mass there. All right. So to create more energy and dynamic figure work, draw your chest, your torso, draw your pelvis, and make sure the center points are as far apart so they're not on top of each other as possible. Okay? So that's step one. So when you think of a Jack Kirby character throwing a punch like this, the center torso is here. Pelvis torso is here, right? See how far apart they are? Okay. And now, once you have that knowledge, you go like, wow, that's cool. I can now have characters lunge forward and feel like even if they're standing still, just by moving these slightly apart, even though they're standing still, they can look a little more dynamic. And now what George Bridgman did was he said to create twist and movement in figures, characters like Daredevil, well, think of like ballet people first, but characters like Batman and Daredevil, they're moving through space. They're not moving straight up and down. They're not moving straight up and down. What am I looking for? Hold on one second. Okay. They're not moving up and down. They're not always lunging, right? Like this. But they are often twisting right? What is Kira saying? That's awesome. Post something on the board. Okay. This is a G.I. Joe. You guys born yesterday? Anyway, all right. He's twisting, right? So it's not just that he's punching straight, but he's twisting to get the maximum amount of torque and energy, right? It's one thing to throw this way, but then you get more if you follow through like that. So if you look at a golfer or baseball pitcher or whatever when they throw a ball, okay? So what Bridgman taught us is that you can now take that torso, the rib cage, right? That we should be practicing over and over, right? Here's the side rib cage. Here's the 3/4 rib cage, right? Here's the front rib cage. Does that make sense? Should be able to draw that from any direction. Here's the top of the rib cage. Here's the top of that rib cage at a slight angle. This is a hole, sorry. All right. If you draw that rib cage, it exists in this plane here, but then if I take that pelvis and turn it, now I can create, I've exaggerated the distance between the two. Right. I've now created torque. I've created a twisting motion in this figure. Does that make sense? Winston, 1982, is the only person paying attention. Thank you. I appreciate the focus. All right. Right? And then we can kind of help sell this by dropping a shadow here. The rib cage under, the ribs actually underneath here. Okay. So the center line goes here, cuts in, comes down, and then turns. Actually, you can't see the turn because it's hidden by that leg. Okay. So instantly, I've created a turning and a motion in this character that did not exist before. And if you look at a lot of Frank Miller's sketchbooks, I don't know if so much for Daryl. He did layouts for Klaus Janson, do finishes. You see, he'll go in and do the construction with like black black marker, I think, and then he'll do the outline in red, the figure work in red, the volumes, right? We can beef him up a little bit. Okay. I apologize for this bad tangent that's going off in the space set. Okay. So here's another example of the same pose from a different angle. Okay. Right. Right. I am teaching. What do we... This is how I teach. Right? So this slot, there's the rib cage, right? But then look at this pelvis. It's at a different angle. Right? That center line is this line right here. This pelvis, though, is doing this. So that pelvis is in that plane. Okay. So not only are they apart from each other, but they're rotated in space. So if you do that consistently, all your figures now are not only moving forward because their center of mass is slightly apart, but spatially they're contorted and torqued, and now they've got, not only are they moving in one direction, but they're twisting as they're moving. And that's how you get the most dynamic figure work. So when you have a character like Daredevil or Catwoman swinging, or Batman swinging through a city, if you can apply not only moving the idea of moving that torso away from the pelvis, but then also rotating the two in space, you'll have poses that I think people will not even understand how it's constructed, but will feel more full of life and energy. Okay? Okay. That was awesome. Yeah. Okay. I can't walk around in public for a while. Yikes. I did it for you. I'm trying not to put the tip of the can against the microphone. All right. Do you think that traditional art still has space in the industry? All my art is traditional. I do very little on the Cintiq. Someone's watching while in church. Oh my gosh. I should say super inappropriate things as loud as possible. Stream is lagging a bit. Audio is off. Oof, that's not good. I think, well, Bridgman really unlocked this idea. And then he also, hold on one second. Excuse me. He's got headphones on. Are you there with your parents? The minister doesn't care at all that there's someone in the congregation wearing headphones looking down at their lap while he's giving a sermon. I just find this intriguing. I'm with you though. When I used to go to church as a kid, we would my friends and I we'd bring toy guns. And when I meant toy, these were metal revolvers that looked like real guns. And they didn't have the orange tips because it was such a long time ago. And after church was over, we would go outside and play like essentially cops and robbers or whatever, hitmen, whatever. I don't know what we played, but we were running around the church with guns shooting at each other. All right, let's move on, mate. Too much talking about. He's praying. Okay. So then when it gets to like heads, it's the same thing. Look, it's what do I want to do with heads here? Very quickly, you have the head like this, which is like this from a front on position, right? But knowing that construction, you should be able to mentally sort of twist it in space so that you are looking at this from all angles. That's a discussion for another day. Today was all about pelvis, torso, separating the two apart and then twisting them in space. Okay, so if this is the torso and this is the pelvis, and they're normally on top of each other like this, move them apart and then twist it, not just this way and this way, or this way and this way, but also this way and this way, right? And that's essentially what I've done here with this daredevil shot. I've got the the torso over the pelvis. I moved them slightly apart. I twisted the chest slightly this way, and I twisted the pelvis this way and down this way. And that's how I was able to kind of create this almost Z-like effect within the body itself. And that's the kind of movement that ballet dancers have, athletes, superheroes, and that's what I got out of looking at the pictures from George Bridgman, not reading all the copious text. Crispy. Okay? All right. Let's give this daredevil away. It's not even a daredevil. Let's just give this torso and pelvis away. Frank Frazetta is great. Not as big of a fan of like Bern Hogarth. There was another. Who was the one that? There was another artist that Crispy had mentioned. Andrew. Do you remember Crispy? What was that guy's name? Loomis, Andrew Loomis. And his stuff is very naturalistic. He influenced guys like Steve Rude. You can see that. Solid draftsman, but not as dynamic because he was, but great for drawing clothes, people looking like very natural and standing and talking, moving. But in terms of taking kind of core life drawing and applying to superheroes, I got the most out of George Bridgman. Monster Mech, Discord is not letting me join. Is it really Discord not letting you join, or you have not figured out how to join? I don't know. I'm just trying to bring back accountability. My phone is not working. No, I have not figured out how to work my phone. I don't know. What am I saying? I'm just being negative. I need to be positive. 2018 is all about positivity. You're right. Discord is failing. It is not allowing anyone to join. It is messing up. I'm clicking and it's not working. I don't know. Anyway, we'll figure it out. Discord. There should be a link within Twitch. I think they're synced up. You can only do Discord from computer. There, Richie Rich. That is correct. I believe. I don't think you can do it off a mobile device. All right? Audio is lagging. But my drop frames are 0. My feed is green. The guy was a sub, though. Yeah, I know there's a mobile version of Discord, but I think there's only certain things you can do on the desktop. TDK fan 718 says, I'm on mobile and I got into non-sub Discord easy, like in 1 second. The person was actually a sub. Maybe talk quicker to catch up the video. That's interesting. I should try that. Okay, all right. Here's the winner for this. It's Gandreg. I don't know. Following since September, I believe. Okay. All right. We have half an hour left, so I'm going to do, let's see, what else we got going on here. So Will Bruce Art was the last bit cheerer. Will Bruce Art, if you're still in the chat, do you have a preference on what I would like to draw, what I should draw? Jay Kavner has cheered some bits. Thank you very much, man. Or person. How do I draw overweight people? Well, you draw the skeleton and then you add a lot of excess mass and then you apply the laws of physics to that mass so that they sag in appropriate areas. And yeah, I can do it in another, I could talk about that in another stream, but I wanted to really focus on what I got out of George Bridgman, or the key thing I got out of George Bridgman. How about something different, like Pennywise the Clown from It? How about something superhero related? If I can push back a bit. Pickle Rick. No disrespect to Will Broussard, but he's usually the last cheer, and this is at least the third time you've asked him for a suggestion, says Tith. Point taken. Luckily, we have other streams that I can take you upon your suggestion and rectify that. But if you just saw that I did challenge him for a different choice. It's not like I'm just drawing whatever. And he's not saying anything. Yeah, let someone else. Okay, well, how about Jay Kavanagh? Jay Kavanagh, do you have a choice? Jay Kavanagh. Carrie, Kelly, Robin. Yeah, let's do that. All right. Okay. So in the interest of saving paper, I'm just going to turn this over. I see that it's slightly dirty. Let me see if I can clean that up a little bit. I can indeed. Okay. All right, so here we go. Jay Kavanagh, thanks, Will Broussard. I love the love in the chat. I love it. The community, you guys are all very cool. Appreciate it. Miss you guys. It's good to see you all back. Okay. Let's see. I will use some of the principles we just talked about with the torso and pelvis for Carrie Kelly. I will do one where she is leaping. Wow, I could even use the exact same pose. But I'm thinking it'll be an upshot of her chest. Or not. I don't know. What do I see? What am I seeing? Here's what I'm seeing. I'm seeing a down shot. Cape. Carrie Kelly here. You guys hear that? Sorry. It's my cat meowing outside the door. I think she's trapped in the room. What I like about Carrie Kelly is sort of the joy of being Robin. She, like the way Frank drew her, she was always kind of leaping. And she just had a joy in all her poses and expressions, even more so than Robin, I think. Modern day Robin has been expressed as a character that has the same sort of exuberance and bounce, but he's also a kid that kind of exalts in it, in that ability. I think Carrie Kelly, to me, was a character like was just happy to be Robin. Like she didn't think it would happen, and it happened, and she just loves kind of donning the role. Donning the mask. So I'm working through different poses here. I went from a down shot now to more of a side shot. Hello? Yeah, what's up? Yes, I am. It's all right. What's up? I'm almost done.
Can you? Well, I'll
What?
wait till after. But the password for the PCs.
Yeah, I'll be out. Okay. Okay. All right. Kids want a game. I'm not gonna let them game because I'll slow down the feed. I'm thinking of you guys. No, I'll just set them the password. All right. Does drawing run in the family? Yeah, all everyone draws. They're all really good. They all work in different styles, and I think if they wanted to, they could work professionally. Not necessarily in comics, but just the world of illustration, graphic design. Okay, so that's what I've got here. Need that Google Fiber. I did look into it for you guys. I mean, that's how. Towards the end of the year, I was like so into trying to do things with this stream, and I got this device here. No, this is not the device. This is just a graphics card. But there's a device that basically allows you to create pre-programmed macros to control the stream while you're streaming, different camera angles and stuff like that. So I'll get that set up. But I just have to pace myself. Miss the torso and pelvis angles. Can you show us the planes? All right, so this torso is actually okay. So here's the torso of the pelvis. What I've done is move that here and move this out. Right. So here's the bottom of the two slots where where the legs go. Go there. Right. So there's the pelvis. The torso arm slots are here. Neck slots up here. So that center line goes down here. All right, center line here goes like that. So she's kind of collapsing in the middle. Oh, the stream just turned red. Here comes lag, getting lag now. Ugh. All right, that's not good, guys. All right, you have to bear with me. We're going to power through. Okay. No, I sent him the password. I felt bad. I should change the password again. Kick the kids off the internet. Yeah. Hold on a second. Actually, you guys are creating massive lag. "20 minutes. Okay. Hit refresh. Okay, it's going back to green. So All right. So let's get through this. Thank you very much, Monsta Mecca, for the bits. Appreciate it. Okay, so I'm gonna start with the ear just to, I don't know. I would normally start with the eyebrows and the eyes, but she's got glasses on, so okay. The thing about her hair, especially, is that it's just kind of this. Has its own kind of almost anime kind of shape to it. It kind of transcends normal hairstyles, and especially when she's like flitting about, it kind of looks like a flame almost, kind of flying out. Kids need to be outside rolling in dirt. Yeah, they're like 17. Mason's 12. Particularly Mason, we don't let him game during the week, so this is his one opportunity. Although he played a lot of Zelda on break. So now the trick to this is I gotta make sure that I put a lot of meat on the bone, but she's a slimmer, more petite robin, so I gotta make sure that I don't overdo it in the figures here. Okay, so I put that. Gotta make sure that her leg is actually long enough too. As you can see, I'm kind of drawing over myself. It's kind of drawing with ink, knowing that I'm going to use whiteout to basically fix my issues that I have. Okay. Oh. Okay. Are you the Jim Lee? I'm not sure who else I would be. Okay. So I've got her essentially in the leaping pose that I want. Now I'm thinking about, I had an idea for the backgrounds, but I'm sort of mulling over what I'm going to do here. That's not Dick Grayson. Yeah, I think I'm doing Carrie, Kelly, Robin, right? Correct? I believe so. I hope so. Okay. Let me just look at it in the mirror here. Okay. I'm happy with it. All right, so now, although I think about it, I feel like this should be like that. No, I don't like that. Excuse me. Looking for that small bit of eraser that I had here. I don't know. Oh, here we go. I initially had the buildings kind of at angle behind her, but then I'm thinking I could kind of do it this way. Silhouette. Okay. All right, let's see if I can make this happen here quickly. Jay Kavanagh made a suggestion. What was the suggestion? Can someone copy and paste it? All right. Let's see if I can do this. Okay. Just doing this to ink around the figure so I don't have to correct as much when I get to it later. Same thing here. Okay. Okay. All right, now Oh, very quickly, I'm going to Greek in. I don't know why the origins of that word. I don't think it has anything to do with Greece. It's not spelled the same. Maybe George Bridgman explains it in the book, Crispy. So get on that stat, okay? Want that book report next stream. Oh, now I remember what I was going to say. One other scene in Last Jedi. There's a scene where these ships that are bombers are descending upon another ship. And I get it. Like, the original Star Wars was very influenced by World War II. So, they had X-Wing fighters, they had Y-Wing fighters, and they were to replicate the 2 different or 3 different kinds of aircraft that fought in the Pacific Theater, right? There was the Avenger, which I believe was a torpedo bomber, a 2-person torpedo bomber, and then the Dauntless, which was a bomber, 2-person bomber that would drop shells, and then the Avengers dropped torpedoes. The Dauntless dropped regular munition from the air. And they would have the front pilot, and then the back there would be a round sort of canopy with a machine gunner, like in the Dauntless, I believe. And so that was kind of what R2-D2's spot, that kind of round dome in the back, that's kind of what it represented. And so they had different roles, and then they had planes that provided cover, right? And so in the movie, they have these things that drop bombs. They're slow, which, okay, they're slow because they're carrying a lot of weight. But in space, I'm pretty sure things are weightless, so I'm not sure what governs thrust. That would be the size of the engine. But they move slowly because they have so many bombs. And then the bomb bay doors open, and then the bombs drop on the ship. But yes, Lagwagon. There is no gravity in space. So, yeah, I don't know. I'm still figuring it out. Anyway, and in these battles, because there is no gravity, there is no right or up or down. And so the idea that all the stars, whether it's Star Destroyers or spaceships, that they're all on one plane, and ships are kind of going, at least the fighter jets, the TIE fighters and X-Wings, they go in all sorts of directions. But the Star Destroyers all kind of basically maintain this idea that they're on a flat plane in space, but in fact they should all be at all sorts of weird angles. That there's really no reason to occupy the same spatial plane because they're not riding on oceans. They're in space where there's no up or down. That's all I'm saying. That's all. So that wasn't that important to remember. That's why I didn't remember it. There's gravity in the ships. Yes, there is. But the ships can be any direction they want. It's an artificial gravity, right? And there's no sound in space. We talked about that. But man, there's that effective scene in Last Jedi where there's something that happens in outer space, and it is soundless like it should, and it's so much more impactful that way. But I guess it's impactful because they typically have sound. It just made it that much more apocryphally, is that a word? Like haunting? Military formation. Yeah, could be military formation. But what would be the most ideal military formation if you could be in any, if you could basically float in space at any kind of angle? Would it be something like this? And with the Star Destroyer maybe facing upwards like that, and maybe one facing down. So it's like a three-dimensional star. So their rear or the engines are protected, or maybe that wouldn't be good. I don't know. I'm overthinking it. Same goes for Green Lantern. Yes, yes. In the meeting and the movie Green Lantern, they're standing on rocks. These guys have power rings. They could all fly. They could all be elevated. All right. Let me just finish this up here. I've chosen a light source that's over here, so I can kind of cast these kind of beefy shadows. Add some architectural details. And because this is kind of a Gotham City bombed out neighborhood, some of these building warehouse windows are going to be boarded up or destroyed. Something big. Spence New 52 has resubscribed. Has subscribed. He has figured out how to do it. You should explain it to the other gentleman in chat. Okay, what do I... Oh, 1 o'clock. All right, I'm run over my time limit here. Although I did start late, so don't want to cheat you guys out of any time. As you can see, I'm just basically taking a brush that's semi-loaded with ink, just kind of dabbing it to create random shapes. Your mind will take those random shapes and make them into something, for the most part. Okay. Let me finish this out over here. Does anyone know where I landed on the giveaways. Were we at 10s only, 25 and up? I want to say it was 20. We left it at 25 and up, I believe. Or were we at 10 and 25? Anyone know? When is my streaming schedule? I will post it later on today. The next couple, probably next 2 months worth of streaming. The problem is I'm going to DC, Washington, D.C. next week for like 3 days for the weekend for this DC and DC project. And then on top of that, after that, I have to go to New Orleans for some business. And then I have to, then I'm back and I have to go to Denver for a meeting. And then this is all January, February. And then I'm traveling again with my family. So I'm traveling 4 times in the next 2 months, 4 or 5 times. It's a lot. And so that's going to impact my schedule, but the idea is to stream 3 times, minimum 3 times a month, once a week, and there'll be fewer gaming streams. I think Brittany's still going to be doing some, and then Kelsey when she's here, of course, as well, because they enjoy it and have the time. But I am trying to be more productive with my work and other responsibilities, and so that's what's going on. Kate, do you want to message me what it is, if it's 2510 or where we're at and all that? Okay. All right. We are at, informed by the helpful mods, we're at 25 only carryover. Okay, just got to clean up some of these edges here. Got a little sloppy in the inking, knowing that I was going to clean it up with white out. So get that done here. Thank you very much, Spice Girl, for the bits. I appreciate it. All right. Just going to clean this up. Go ahead and just post anything in. I'm not going to do the keyword anymore because last time we did that, it did some false positives. So I'm not entirely sure about some of the functionality of Nightbot. So I know what we've been doing all day today does work, and so I'll just keep it at that. So you just have to have posted in the past couple minutes to be eligible. We're at 107. I'm going to call it in a second here. Thank you, Moon Knight, for subscribing. Appreciate it. All right, there we go. Let me just do the fixes. So again, I want to thank you guys for tuning in. It's good to see you guys in the new year. I'll thank Kate and Renee and our new mod, Crispy, for their help behind the scenes and during this stream. You guys make this a pleasurable, easy experience. I know everyone appreciates your guys' efforts. We're about to head into con season soon as well, so we're going to have our first sub-only meetup at WonderCon. That's still going to be happening. And thank you guys for participating in the Discord channel. It gives me an opportunity in my downtime to see what's going on, to hear your thoughts, feedback, your introductions, all that kind of stuff. So, okay. There we go. Let me just erase some of the heavy pencils on her. It kind of is distracting. I like to have some of the line work just to kind of showcase some of the energy and the sketchiness of it all, which makes it different than a typical finished drawing. But can't have too much, otherwise it starts obscuring and competing with the lines I actually put down. Okay, I just realized I didn't fix her glasses here. This line here is not good for business. Okay. All right, guys and gals. Good luck to you all. Here we go. Live. All right. Hopeless last twitch. She says we were lied to. What does that mean? Okay. All right, here we go, guys. Good luck. It's GP Turismo. GP Turismo, please flash the Batman emote to indicate that you are a 25 sub. We're waiting on GP Turismo. No. Okay. All right. It's all good. I'm going to re-roll it. Sorry, GPT. Onil Patel. Onil Patel. Maybe we should go back to the keyword, because this might have too many people that don't have the. Ooh. All right, I have to go to the key roll. Sorry, guys. Sorry, Onil Patel. All right, keyword. Please type in Robin to be eligible. Please only type in if you're a 25 sub. Thank you. Oh, yeah. Yep, there's still a chance. Sorry, so we are going to have to resort to the keyword. So only type it in if you are a 25 sub. We're at 1:15, so I'm going to log off right after this is done. So again, thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you to the mods. Had a good time. The 3 hours passed very, very quickly. And if you guys want to follow more streams, I'll have the schedule up later. Okay? All right, I'm going to roll it. People are still typing in Robin. You don't need to type it more than once. Once you type it in, you're locked in. You're good to go. All right. Here we go. I'm going to roll it. Congrats to the winner in advance. Jex Traxy. Jex Traxy has won the giveaway. Jex Traxy says, "Oh my god." There you go. Awesome. Congrats, Jex Traxy. Okay, let me write that down. All right. Thank you, guys. Have a great remainder of the weekend. I will see you guys soon, all right? Take care. Bye-bye.